Okie dokie, so welcome to the very first flight review on my brand new channel, Review of the Flight Viewers. And today we're going to be talking about this guy, Dennis. And I was particularly interested in this video, which I watched maybe 4 or 5 days ago, about the new British Airways business class. Now, the last 2 times I flew British Airways, the last one was from London to Hong Kong. Actually, I was going to the Philippines. It was co-shared with Cathay as well, but it was a British Airways flight, and it was a disaster. So much so, I complained about it vividly. The seat was too small. 8 seats across in business class. Again, when I flew, if you watch my introduction, I didn't pay for these tickets because it was part of my job that I did, that I was either going business or first class on long-haul flights. Part of the job, part of the perks, so. But I was really shocked with that, first of all, and the service was the worst service in the world. I mentioned before that the stewardess or the cabin crew actually picked up a piece of bread with her hand and then put it on my really lousy meal. So I was very interested to see Dennis's review. The time before that, it was from Mexico to London, and I even went economy class. The seat was so small, you could not breathe, and the flight was full. It really was like cattle class. It was horrible. So, let's skip everything about the airport. Dennis is actually a very clear producer, and the video quality you can see on his videos are amazing, really crystal clear, so good quality there. The things I liked about the video was him showing about business class and how it's much improved. It's like 1 seat on the window, 2 seats in the middle, 1 seat on the other side from port to starboard. But I really liked, and I really hated as well, that British Airways are charging like £77 on his ticket, like $100 US, to go and sit there. Oh my God. It's like the budget airlines kind of extra money scheme British Airways are now putting in for business. If you're paying like 5,000 American dollars for this kind of particular seat, they're scamming you for an extra 100. One of the comments below said, criminal, and I totally agree. So British Airways, if you ever listen, take that out. Well done, Dennis. Good point of it to say that. The next one, and this is where I disagree with Dennis, is the food. Now, I'm going to show you the in-flight he had for his tea and also for his dinner. So dinner was after he took off. And if you see the picture of what he had, it looks like something that you would get in economy class on a airline like Air India. I'm afraid to say. It doesn't look very tasty at all. And then the British Airways tea, I remember having this, and that really hasn't changed. It looks awful, and trust me, the taste is pretty disgusting. So, Dennis, I am afraid I don't agree with that, and I am comparing it to things like Qatar, which is a great airline, Cathay Pacific and Singapore Air, where when you do have like English tea or tea before you land, it is like being in the Ritz or the Carlton or the Dorchester in London. The views on the video was really good, and I also like, I'm going to go back a bit, the glassware that British Airways is now using, the crystal when you had your gin and tonic, but at the beginning of the flight they gave you champagne, but look at the glass, it's cheap as chips. Yeah? Again, it should be in some kind of really good crystal glass, in a long stem, not a cheap glass that you get in premium economy. So, don't agree with that one, British Airways. But in general, Dennis, I think that review of British Airways is going to encourage people maybe to go back. Now, some of you and some may not remember the good old days of British Airways when they said it's the world's favourite airline. And in the 80s and 90s, when I used to fly, can I say, again, for work, and because I was sort of like not in the executive committee at that time, most of my flights were on British Airways and most of them were in economy. And it was wonderful. You actually really looked forward to it. From the moment you got into the airport, to the check-in, to the service, and you said, it's the best in the world. But now, so hopefully this reinvention of British Airways is going to put them in the top league. So Dennis explained this very clearly. And will I fly with BA? Still, the answer is going to be no, until I get better reviews from it. So I think Dennis is leading the trend and the brand for that as well. So out of 10 for the review, I would sort of give you like an 8 or 8.5, because there's some things that I think not so accurate and things that British Airways can get better. And I think you're just being a bit over polite, especially with the food service. And if British Airways again are listening, charging for a seat when they're paying a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, wow, yeah, it's like Air Asia. I don't know if EasyJet or Ryanair do, or some of the budget airlines, they do it terrible, yeah, especially when you're doing that amount of money. So there is my very first review of Dennis. The next one is going to be Non-Stop Dan, and is going to be the latest video from Dan, and I'm going to do that a little bit later today. This is a brand new channel, okay? I do have my old channel, which you can see on my home page here, and I would ask you to like, subscribe, share, and comment. I will also, as I mentioned in my introduction, do some polls of the top flight reviewer for this particular month or that year. It's all in the process at the moment, and I'm being very, very honest. You can see that this video is not cut. There's no interaction there. There's no interlink that I cut and edited it on the iMovie player kind of thing to create the video. This is a natural, live kind of impression. So I hope you enjoy it. I know I do waffle on a little bit, but I would like to hear your comments as well. I am out of here. Be good, and I'll see you for another review of the flight reviewers in the very near future. In fact, possibly about another 3 or 4 hours. Bye for now. Be good.